it sort of like leads me into what I wanted to talk to you about on the next front, which is that like you existed in this industry at a time where you were your own marketer as well. And not only were you marketing your service, but you were also marketing for mortgage brokers. Now you're running a brokerage in Indi in that you're teaching and training other folks how to build their business, how to market themselves and things like that. But going back to the early days, like how did you even market to clients what a mortgage brokerage was? I do think, and you could see based on the trend, people are using mortgage brokers more and more and more. And that is something that we are deeply passionate about assisting in this industry. We think that mortgage brokers are the best for consumers. We believe that in our hearts. And what were some of the things that you were doing early on to just let people know what would mortgage brokers do? How did you market that?
So to me, it's always been this constant effort. All of us need to be doing it. You know, promoting the value of working with a mortgage broker is not something that you get to buy a billboard and just everybody reads and then you're done. Everybody's educated. Partly because the landscape is shifting underneath us at all times. We're constantly getting new rules. We had new rules, in the last few weeks. So we're going to continue to see that. So I think it's really about communicating with your sphere of influence. So what I would do is tell stories, and I would tell stories to the people that were in my circles. And we can do that on social media now and tell stories about the people we've helped, the types of consumers that we've helped. Instead of saying you should work with me, you could say somebody that's like you worked with me. I just completed a mortgage for some people that are in the same situation as you, and I got them a great deal. They worked with their bank, but we actually moved them to a different bank. They started with theirs, we moved them to a different one, and we got them a better rate, or we got them a better solution, or we got them whatever that situation was. But if you tell a story about something that you've done, and you tell a variety of different stories, eventually your network will understand what you do and will see themselves in your business. It could be a referral source. It could be somebody that you've met at BNI at a networking group, a realtor, or it could just be somebody in your family or social network. But they need to understand where they fit. And I think storytelling is a great way to get there.
I love that reframe to tell it in the form of a story and relate it to other human beings who are like me, right? Because we do that as humans. We identify ourselves with certain characteristics and bucket that into specific groups and think about our own identity, whether or not we're consciously thinking about it or subconsciously identifying as somebody who, right? So thinking about, being at that family barbecue and you got your aunt there with you and you say that, you do mortgages and she says, no, I'm good. I get all my products from National. I'm a high net worth client there, right? They may not outwardly say that, but they're thinking to themselves like, I've got, a couple $100,000 or I've got $1 million in assets with X bank, for example. And to be able to come back and say, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you probably, get really well taken care of there. In fact, I was just helping this family and much the same, are in really good financial shoes. They're used to getting a pretty decent rate, but just on their most recent renewal, for whatever reason, the bank just didn't give them a great renewal offer on their mortgage. So what I actually did, I actually showed them the network program with such and such. Didn't even have to get all the usual income documents, which are often painful for folks like you. I just did a net worth program and moved them over here and saved max amount of money and did this and did that. And now they're super happy and they go home, and aunt is talking to uncle and going, should we check on that?
It
just
takes
that little bit of doubt,
sales.
right? And then just wait,
Yes. That waiting is the critical element of it, because you don't want to try and move in at the family barbecue. You just plant the seeds. She's going to stay your aunt tomorrow, the next day, the day after. And that's the thing that I think we often get confused about in this business, is that it is a very long sales cycle. And it's a sales cycle that we are not in control of the timeline on. So, you could pick up a client and they signed with their bank yesterday. They're going to use you for your next mortgage, but they're in for 5 years. Does that mean they're not a client? Does that mean that you didn't do a good job acquiring a client and building your business? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means you're not going to get paid for a while. So you have to have patience. And it's the same thing in the scenario you're talking about. You plant those seeds and then wait for your aunt to come back to you. Or the next conversation, and maybe it goes a little farther, and maybe you never do business with your aunt, because family members are difficult. Friends are the same. They don't necessarily want you to see their credit, their assets.
Totally.
Most people would like to be further along in their financial journey than they are currently. There's a little bit of embarrassment associated with it. Often we get caught up in what we want out of the situation. We forget to look at the whole picture, and that client will work with us when they're ready to. We just have to put ourselves in the right position to.